So what I want to talk to you about has been described by someone I know fairly well, or key players in his organization, a guy named Dan Sullivan and Tom Hardy. They wrote a little book called The Gap in the Gain. This is something in my life I figured out about 30, 40 years ago. And what they've said is extremely valuable and very, very important. And so it is going to be really a life changer for you, because it works like this. So I'll give you the way to get online in a minute. But the gap in the gain looks at the relationship between how we actually consider what we're focused on in life, trying to accomplish or do. And as a result, it actually puts us in a position to be frustrated and depressed, or very happy. And so what I want to do is kind of just show you this thing. In life, the way our life kind of goes is we make progress and not, and it goes down, and struggles happen, levels off, goes up, down, up, up, up. All right. So that's roughly how it goes. Things improve. Overall trend can be up. But what happens is we have a line up here, and this is an ideal that we've created. And with this ideal, we've got a fair bit of a problem. And the reason we have a problem is because the ideal is some notion in your mind. And think about homeschooling. If you get yourself in a place where you have an ideal about how things should go in math, in writing, and reading, and meals, or anything, you've got an ideal, and an ideal is actually an impossibility. So an ideal is like the horizon. It constantly moves. It's out there, but it just keeps moving. And so the closer you get to the horizon, you're no closer. Further away, and you're no further away, but it feels like it. So the horizon is where the sky meets the earth. And I hope you know this, the sky doesn't actually meet the earth, right? That is an illusion. So when you set up an ideal for like a perfect homeschooler, et cetera, what you're hoping to do is really motivate yourself. You know, you're really trying to stretch to something. But since you've set up an impossibility, all that's going to happen is going to be depression. You're going to be sad. This distance right here is where the problem is, right? And we could do it right here too, right? The trick is, if you're measuring, let's say you're measuring today over here, and you compare it with where you were last year at this time, that little distance you'll see is progress. And so what happens is that makes you happy. So the difference between this gain and this gap, the gap is the distance between what you want and where you are. And when you focus on that, you're just going to be frustrated because you're not there yet. It's not even possible with ideals. But even if you focus on a goal and you're just obsessed on the goal, you're not really tuned into the progress. You're not tuned into what to be grateful for, how well you've done, how you've improved. And what I'm wanting to do is invite you to start noticing this. It'll come in handy with the question we're about to have. But this is the game that with your homeschool, you want to engage with your kids and with yourself and everybody else involved. How are we doing now compared to last year, last month? How are they doing in math now compared to how they're doing reading now? And get them, and this is the trick, get them to measure this. This is the thing to measure, right? So measure. Pretend like that spells measure. You don't want to measure this. This is not a thing to measure. If you measure where you want to be and where you are, it's going to be frustrating and stressful. It's not you're not motivated, not that you don't care to get there, especially on a goal, but what you really want to do is talk about, what am I grateful about? What's going better this week than last week? In fact, I'd suggest that for your homeschool. Just start there. What is going better? What are we doing better now than we did last week? What's better since last week or better since last month? And you're going to find that if you do this very thing, it will be transformational. So this distance between the ideal and the real right here, this thing right here, that is not what you want to measure. That's frustration. That's frowny face. Measuring where you were to where you are now to where you were, and make that the measurement. Are we reading better? Are we doing math better? Are we cooperating better? Are we communicating better? If you have our courses, am I doing memory better? Am I doing relationships better? Am I communicating better? Is my focus better? That sense of progress, it's what you're grateful for. And when you do that, you're engaged in the joy of the activity, not in trying to figure it out. So if you're in a homeschool and you compare yourself to others, this is where the problem is. We should be toward them. They're towards the ideal. Compare yourself to where your kids should be relative to other kids. You know, that could be a bit of a problem if they're behind theoretically. But measuring a child that's learning to read, and they read better now than they did a month ago, and they're doing math better now than a month ago, and they're being a little quieter, a little more obedient or focused than a month ago. I mean, that is magical for your school. So that's the game, and I hope you find that helpful.